Hey, one more thing before you go. Do you love Italy? Do you love Italian food? What about culture and history and traditional recipes passed down from family member to family member? Stay tuned. In this episode of One More Thing Before You Go over the Teacup with Michael and Diane, we're going to take you on a journey with Stanley Tucci while he's finding Italy. Hey, welcome to Over the Teacup Sunday with Michael and Diane. I'm Michael.
And I'm Diane.
Each and every Sunday, we sit down with a cup of tea or a cup of whatever you're drinking, and we have a relaxing conversation about stuff we absolutely love to talk about. In this particular case, it's going to be a television show that we think you should enjoy as well. In today's episode, we're going to talk about food and travel and Stanley Tucci. This is the thing about Stanley Tucci searching for Italy. Are you excited about this?
Yes, I wish Stanley Tucci was actually here.
I wish Stanley Tucci was here
That's
also.
pretty cool. Could bring some of the food with him because, yeah, I'm hungry. I could eat
Yeah,
some of
it's it's this as you know, the world doesn't know, but you're going to know now. My sister turned me on to this particular program, and it's on CNN. I'll tell you a little bit more about it in a second, but it's on CNN, and then it's in its second season now. So if you we're hoping that you go and enjoy this because the first season is fantastic. We'll talk about it a little bit. And then the second season has been even better. And because it's Stanley Tucci and he does it in such he's like a relaxing
it. Yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
It's really
It's
cool. It's much different, I think, than some of the other food shows that we've watched.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Well, because he's not a chef. I mean, he's an actor.
yeah, he's an amateur chef. Because
Right.
he
Well,
does have a cookbook out of his family recipes that he
right.
does and how he's adapted them and things like that. But
In
in this particular show,
like you were saying, comparing to other food shows,
yeah,
almost always a chef
it's
that
always a
goes
chef.
stuff and but he's so fun to watch because um, the whole premise is that he's searching for Italy and he's going back to each region of Italy to explore the cuisine of each region and how different each region
Each one
is.
is, yeah.
I mean, I'm not a geography person. I didn't do horribly at geography, but I'm not great. I didn't realize there were so many regions in one.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, let me give everybody kind of a quick rundown from IMDb and CNN. This is what they've got to say about it. Academy Award nominee Stanley Tucci travels across Italy, tasting the flavors of the land and the sea, and discovering history, secrets, and delights of the country's regional cuisines. CNN's description of the show is the viewers will go along with him as he enjoys a luxurious, creamy carbonara of Rome, the delicious simplicity of Sicily's pasta alla Norma, the saffron-infused silkiness of risotto in Milan, the crispy tenderness of bistecca alla fiorentina, the perfect classico ragu alla bolognese, and the world's best pizza from Naples. Tucci comes with prepared with a bottomless appetite for all. It's some of the stuff he eats, we're kind of like, no.
Yeah, some of it I actually have to guys and ask when it's over.
Yeah,
Wow. Some of the stuff they eat, oh, and I'm a picky eater anyway. Anybody who knows me from way back, I'm I'm actually not as picky as I used to be. For those of you who've known me as a kid, but I am still. I don't really eat seafood. I'm fish and chips is about the extent of it.
although you've explored a little bit more lately, you've kind of got into some
If
swordfish and
well,
some mahi mahi if it's cooked right.
if you cook it,
If I cook it,
if you cook the mahi mahi and you cook the swordfish, I will eat it.
you will eat it. So I'm an amateur chef myself.
So,
Um,
but yeah, some of the stuff they eat there, and there's so much seafood in Italy, so much.
well, I mean, obviously Italy's got is the Mediterranean diet, so what you see is a diversity of Italian cooking, and it kind of offers a gateway through which you can glimpse Italy's history and culture, from those perspectives, which is what I like about the program. Not only do we, I keep saying, I'm usually really good about not saying, this particular show gives us the opportunity to kind of experience the culture from inside, because Stanley Tucci is Italian on both sides of his family. And as a child, he grew up in Italy. So, he kind of went back home basically, and he's fluent in Italian. And, some Italy, coming from my experience with Italians, because, and we'll go into that here in a second, there are some different dialects across Italy. So there's a few places that he kind of struggles when he's there a little bit, but a majority of Italians also speak English, so it's very very helpful. But it's it to me, as you know, some of my best memories are growing up with my sister, who had learned to cook from like a little Italy. Mary married an Italian from Rome, and when he came here, he spoke very little English. And, he took her back there about every year that they could. He would go back, and they'd experience Italy, and she'd learn some cooking there. And then friends of his would come from Italy, and pretty soon the apartment complex was a kind of a little Italy within itself. So we had
in,
Renata was teaching Mary how to cook.
in Colorado Springs,
And Colorado Springs, yeah, yeah.
little Colorado Springs.
Well, yeah,
Um,
Colorado Springs.
well, and she learned to cook from Roberto's mother and grandmother.
Well, and actually, I spoke with her this morning, and actually, Renata taught her a good portion of her cooking.
Oh,
And Renata from Italy,
mhm.
herself, she had moved here then. In fact, my first job, as you know, I've talked about that before, was working for two guys from Italy Pizzeria, and these two guys from Italy were actually Italian. They spoke very little English, so that was an interesting first job at 15 years old. trying to
So
trying to
you were not only a busboy or dishwasher, but you also taught them English.
I
So
exactly. It kind of it worked out really well. I grew up with during those formative years, from probably 11 till 21 years old. I grew up with come si dice. Everybody was always come si dice. Come si dice is how do you say? So it was always come si dice, Michael, come si dice, all the time. So I learned Italian at that time as well, because they would ask me something of how to say what this is, and they would say it in Italian, and
mhm.
then I would say it in English. So it kind of got me, a little learning good proper English there, huh? Got me a little learning.
You
I
forgot.
was able to kind of learn a little more Italian, and learn a lot Italian culture, because Roberto had friends from Rome and from Milan and from Sicily and from Naples. So I personally got um, a diverse, in depth experience from foods from all of those regions that were cooked traditionally in
Yeah, but
Colorado Springs.
they used to play tricks on you, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And they'd laugh about it because, they'd make something and they'd be talking to themselves, Roberto and Giovanni and Sergio, and these guys were always talking about, hey, this is going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We sit down for dinner, we sit down to eat. And they would laugh and they go, okay, just eat that. And what is it? No, just eat it. You'll like it. Just eat it. And then after I eat it, then they say, oh, that was this. That was oxtail, or that was squid, or that was calamari, or this was, I mean, just so many different kinds of foods. There's like, I cannot believe I just ate that.
And as speaking from a picky eater's perspective, that's my nightmare.
That's your nightmare.
Literally my nightmare. I I'd go screaming from the room. Nope.
I had a diverse experience with Italian food. I got to learn Italian food from different regions, like Stanley's doing, and it was a great experience for me, because and look, I love my mother. Mom, sorry, but my mother grew up with Southern, I'm going to get in trouble for this,
You're gonna get in trouble.
Southern, greasy, I mean, mashed potatoes, where she'd take the pork chops cooked in grease and then take that and make a gravy out of it and put it all over the mashed potatoes. So,
Well,
um,
I remember my great grandmother having the old coffee can full of old grease that
oh
she just,
yeah,
and then she would cook with that.
same stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's, and like I said, look, I appreciate. I learned to appreciate good food and a good section of diverse type of food. It allowed me to appreciate food and wine and culture and history. It made me the person I am today, and I'm very grateful for that.
Well, I think that especially at the age you were, like you said, your formidable years,
Yeah,
uh, got to, you were experiencing the world, or, elsewhere outside of your little, Colorado Springs area.
yeah.
You got to experience, culture from across the world. And a lot of people can't say that, especially at that age.
No, yeah, and I really, you know, it was interesting because some of my best memories, as you all know that do listen to this podcast, and for those that are new to it, you know, I lost my father when I was 15 years old, but before that, I hadn't seen him for several years. And you know, to me, Roberto was my sister's first husband, and her my nieces and nephews are from Mary and Roberto. My those years, Roberto didn't take a place as a father, but he took a role as an older brother that I helped teach him English, and he helped teach me how to be the man I am today, where I respect food and culture and family and art and history. I appreciate those things. He taught me to drive. In fact, it's so many funny things. You know, I'm driving this brand new Mustang too that he started here as a dishwasher and he worked his way up in life as and became like a manager, an assistant manager for a very elite furniture store, and you know, repairing furniture and things like this as well. And you know, I still remember my legs shaking so bad when I was trying to, you know, work the clutch and the gas at the same time. He just slapped the hell out of my leg and say, "Stop it!" It's like, you know, I don't want to wreck your nice new car, Roberto. But some of my best memories are Roberto and I, you know, on the weekends making calzones, which he called Roman sandwiches, and having wine, which we'd put fruit in the glasses, and you know, we'd pour that, and it was great. We'd watch soccer, and we'd eat these things, and or I'd watch my sister, you know, pounding, you know, meat down to this really thin stuff, and breading it, and then frying it up, and making pasta, homemade pasta, and that was just great. I mean, some of my best memories are that.
I may I may be a picky eater, but your sister's one of the best cooks. Ugh.
She is. So, you know, and that's why yeah, I really appreciate this show, because Stanley, I get to see not only that I mean, you and I have talked about this. I'm like, oh, I've eaten that, or I eat this, or I eat that, kind of a thing, because I experienced that firsthand from Italians from the region that cooked it traditionally while they were here, which again I appreciated that. So this is one of my favorite um, um, like specials. It's a nonfiction series.
Mhm.
Its first episode aired, I think, February of 2021, and it got an award for Primetime Creative Emmy Award for Outstanding Hosted Nonfiction Series or Special, which is what he deserves
Yeah.
because he does an amazing job
It's a
of.
fun to watch.
It is fun
And
to watch.
even though sometimes I have my eyes closed because they're eating something that's like,
Yeah,
but a lot of it is like, oh, I would eat that. Okay. When we are able to go there, I'm going to say when and not if, um, I would live on, I mean, I found things I could live on. I could eat as long as,
basically, yeah, and you know the advantage I think is the fact that he gives us a tour of where we're going to, but you know he gives you the history behind these dishes and a little bit of history of the area. So every episode is stuffed with regional specialties prepared in family kitchens as well. A lot of these restaurants that he goes to are family owned. So it has been passed down from generation to generation to generation. And
Yeah.
the kitchens that you see, um, a lot of them, even though they're restaurants, they just look like a kitchen you would walk into in somebody's house.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are set in these scenic, beautiful areas.
Yeah. They do.
So
They show the architecture, um, also, and which is really nice. I love to see, and they show the views of the Mediterranean. And oh my gosh, I love it. I want to
well,
go.
and I think part of the best part about it is unlike like we said earlier, it's a he's not a chef. He's an amateur chef.
Hmm.
He learned his cooking from both of his parents, who, like I say, they're both Italian. They're Italian. He grew up there as a child, which was really cool when he visited where his father was from, where his mother was from.
Yeah.
That those episodes are pretty slick.
Yeah. And his
Um,
dad found the apartment his dad grew up in or something. I
yeah,
feel like correct. But I also like I think the episode that well, there's a lot of episodes that stand out, but one you were talking about the kitchens, it
yeah.
looks very familial, when you go into these kitchens. And the one I remember, I wish I could remember exactly which region. I want to say it was in Rome itself. But
I think he grew up in southern. I think he grew up in southern Italy.
no, I'm telling this episode that
Yeah, he
I'm
grew. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I think he grew up in Cambria.
that sounds right.
I think he grew up in Cambria. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
The the kitchen issue, the restaurants and the kitchen. The one that really stands out was the guy that came up with the idea to have different women from that region come in and cook. They actually prepare the menu. They decide what they're going to cook for, like, I think it's like every week or every 2 weeks they switch people coming in and actually doing the cooking.
Yeah, so you get something from different regions.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't. Was he pulling in people from different regions?
Yes,
Okay.
pulls people in from different regions, and you get to experience that food that way. And there's so you when you come into that restaurant, you have a diverse menu as well, so you can try something from a different area.
And
And
women of the areas coming in and getting together, and like a team of like 4 or 5 of them,
yeah,
and they all do these special dishes for this restaurant for like 2 weeks straight. That's the menu. That's what they're cooking. But what a
and
great
and
idea!
and, and the women are not chefs;
No,
they're mothers and daughters
and
and
yeah,
wives. You know,
yeah,
they so you get what you get. You get a history lesson and
hmm
the traditional but simple recipes.
and their family they bring in to do.
Exactly. Yeah, I think the whole show in itself, Stanley Tucci not being a chef where he's very critical from a different perspective of being within the industry of cooking and as a chef.
Mhm.
He's just there to enjoy the food. He's not there to make friends, but at the same time, he focuses on the history and those simple traditional recipes. And
Mhm.
you can. I love it when he's tasting something for the first time,
Mhm.
and you see it in his face, and he's going, "Oh yeah, that's good. That's really that's good." And the all of the recipes that you see, CNN, and I'll leave the links in the show notes, but CNN has got a place that you can go and make these recipes.
Mm.
So if you really like something that they've made within here, then you have the recipe and where it's from and where the region is from, so you can, make it yourself and experience it at home all by yourself. Which is, or you would not say all by yourself. You and your family can experience, and your friends can experience, something from one of those regions, and there it is. It's all right there for you.
I I wish I could remember exactly which episode, but there was something they made. His wife came in to have it too. It was kind of a high-end restaurant.
They were in London, believe it or not. They were in London, but in fact, that's where the restaurant that has just hit me. The restaurant that the guy brings in the women from the different regions, it is in South London.
Right.
That's why you can only bring him in for a couple weeks at a time.
That's why. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he brings
But
him in a couple. Yeah.
I don't think it was the same episode, but the one
And his wife was there. He brought his wife.
I'll have to look at it again, but there was one episode 100% everything that they showed on this entire episode I would eat, which was very rare. Um so I got to remember that episode, but um it, the pasta, the different types of pasta. I had no idea there were different types of pasta until I
Yeah.
watched
It's amazing that what is available out there and the different names. I mean,
it.
we know
Made.
some like tagliatelle, and we know, spaghetti, regular spaghetti. We know panna pasta. We know fettuccine. We know, those types of pasta. But there's all these others, and there's some that I've never eaten before because I've eaten a diverse kind of pasta, ravioli and ribbon and there's been a bunch of different kind of pastas that I have eaten over my years. But the one that they fried up and made it crispy and burnt with the
Uh,
cheese and everything, I don't know if I'd eat that or not.
yeah, we're gonna have to go back and look at these and get the exact recipes. But the one we just saw yesterday, I think we were watching it yesterday. Yeah, yesterday,
Yeah.
where they had a stamp. You can get a stamp with like your family crest or whatever, and you can stamp it into the pasta.
Oh, we can't get those. Those are only, that they're traditional from a family bringing it down the line because
Well,
it's stamped with the family crest.
right. But I'm just saying that's what this episode we watched, these people were doing that. They were using their family crest.
Yeah, to make
And,
the flat pasta.
it's
Yeah.
like almost like one side of ravioli because
There's one
they
side of ravioli and or there's a flat pasta that they were making as well.
that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and then they stamped it. Yep, yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep. It was
So,
pretty cool.
yeah.
Um, again, let me quick. Again, like I said earlier, there's two seasons, and I know that Diane and I both have enjoyed both of the seasons very well. But season one is only 6 episodes long, so they're quick and easy to kind of binge watch. We binge watch them as well. They started off with Naples and the Amalfi Coast,
Oh, I love
which
that.
which was yeah,
My favorite place. I want to go so bad.
it was.
I
I,
want a shirt that they made.
well, and the where they show where the lemons were coming from the Amalfi Coast,
That's
and
the episode. That's the one.
the ones
Yeah.
with the lemons and they made the complete lemon pasta. And then you and I make lemon. We make that pasta all the time. We make homemade pasta.
Well, but it was a dessert that they made.
Oh, they made the
Some.
dessert as well.
I'm really hungry.
Yeah, but we I wish we could have some Amalfi lemons because they're supposed to be like the best in the world, and they take you through the whole thing. You go up to where the lemons are picked and where they're grown up the side of the mountain on ledges. They're grown, so you get to see all of this. You get to see and smell it, and they went down and made fresh pasta, and then it's
And
doused in lemon, and
the views on that. Oh my gosh.
yeah, my mouth is already watering.
I want to go. God.
Oh, it's crazy. But yeah, they went to, then they went on, they went to Rome, Bologna, Milan, Tuscany, which I found out that, as you know, we were talking about this. I did my DNA again through CRI genetics. And I always knew that there might be a little of that in me. And I'm about 8% Tuscany Italian. So that's a different perspective from enjoying the Italian food.
Yeah. How about
8% Toscani Italian, le buono. And then ended up with Sicily, which, Mary's got, Mary is my half sister, but she's got relatives in Sicily that go way back. And so that's the whole first season are those. And I mean, I would, and Diane, I'm sure you agree. Um, you go to each one of these things, it's a personal trip with Stanley Tucci. So,
yeah?
when he's tasting something or like he was tasting the cheeses that are made, the pecorino cheese that was made up in the mountains. Um, in the mozzarella that was up made up there, the buffalo mozzarella and things like that. You can see the joy in his face.
Yeah.
You can almost taste it because you see it in his face. It was pretty. I think it's
Yeah. I don't think there's, I mean, there's very, very few things I think he doesn't like. But you can kind of, as you're watching the show, he does have sort of a tell.
yeah.
Um, well, but you can kind of tell not real fond of something.
Yeah,
Um,
or he looks at something when they go to make it, and then we won't tell you what because we want you to watch the show. But there are times he'll look at it when they're making it, and he's going, okay, I'll try this.
like the guys, were those the sheep herder, the shepherds?
Yeah, because they were
Yeah.
doing the blood.
Don't say it. Don't. We want people to watch the show. Don't say it. Yeah.
they
Probably
make a traditional, they make a
that was,
traditional recipe with sheep's blood.
yeah, that was the worst. That was, yeah.
Yeah, that's not something that I would try either. And I believe it or not, I
I don't
never got I never got pranked with that one, so it's okay.
I don't think
Never
he
got
was.
pranked with it. Squid, octopus, oxtail, um, the cow's liver. Uh, I think one time cow's stomach, but
Mhm.
yeah, no. But
They do a lot of organ meats there.
and that's part of the tradition I think comes from because a lot of those areas are really poor.
Well, yeah, that's how they had. That was they were gonna
And
if they would die.
yeah,
So
say you want to survive, you had to make use of everything that you had, or you wouldn't survive.
and that I mean, I like the idea that they're not killing the animals just for killing them. They're killing them to survive,
To
and I get
survive, exactly. And
right.
it's again we go back to the same thing that you to me I'm loving the fact that you get a history lesson. You get to see some beautiful architecture and some. I mean, look how clean some of those places are. I mean, you're looking at. There's also some disappointment too because there were some places that historical buildings were graffitied. A bunch of forgive me for being rude, but a bunch of little idiots not understanding that you just
Well,
desecrated
hooligans.
hooligans, desecrated historical
Hmm.
buildings that have been around for hundreds of years, and you made this stupid move. And of course, I
I don't.
appreciate.
I don't think they. I mean, I haven't seen too much of that. Either they're hiding it on the show, they don't want to show too much of it, and maybe the ones we saw yesterday, there was just no hiding it because there was so much. I
They were
don't know.
just there. Well, I mean, and they had one of the episodes that has. They also went to that area that kept getting burned out
Yeah.
because they didn't want them there, so they would torch everything and burn it out, and burn it out, and burn it out, and then slowly but surely they had the government's approval to start building back up again,
Yeah,
and
this is
took
this is modern day stuff that we're talking about. This is
yeah.
not something that happened, hundreds of years ago. I mean, it probably did, but th- it actually was like mob involvement,
Yeah, it was
and
pretty
trying,
crazy.
yeah,
And he
get
talks a
money.
lot about that too. But then you get to go to like this season. We get to go to but we did get to go to kinda to Venice and to Piedmont, Umbria, to London, which we just talked about, where they did his wife joined him there in London, and they talked about some of their favorite dishes and her favorite dishes.
That's where he and his wife live. They live in London. She's from
Yeah.
London.
Yeah, in fact, I think does she have a restaurant? She might have a restaurant in London.
She might.
Yeah, I have to look that up.
Yeah.
Then they did Calabria and then Sardinia and Puglio and Liguria, which is what we just finished up with and watching. So there's 8 episodes in season 2. But each one of these areas, some of these areas, obviously we've all heard of Sardinia and we've heard of Puglia, I've heard of, but in Calabria, I've heard.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd heard of before.
But some of these, some of the places that they visited, because he'll go to these main places and then he'll go to these little offshoots outside of there. So you get to see some more history and some other people where people are still living like they had always lived. And
Mhm.
again, through tradition and, a culture. And what I appreciated about it is the, um, and I'm like really, I'll admit it, I'm kind of anal about this, but Roberto always taught me to, the way I dress and the way I present myself in public. And, that's the one thing I appreciated observing there because, you go to some of these places, and the majority of them actually, and no matter where they're at, they've got a nice shirt on, a nice pair of pants on. They're not
Yeah,
sloppy and they're, you know, which I appreciate.
they definitely dress pretty nice out there.
But of all these episodes, I mean, you talked about one of them that really stuck out to you. Do you, even in this last season, do you have a favorite?
Well, I was interested. The one we saw yesterday was you just said it. I'm sorry. It started with an L.
With Liguria.
Korea. I'd never heard of it, but the views that they were showing, and the pictures they were showing of the houses up the hill and the beautiful Mediterranean, and it's like, okay, that's the picture that's where I've always wanted to go. Whenever I've seen pictures of Italy, that must be what I,
Well, that's
you
why you want
know,
to go to the Amalfi Coast because I mean, it's just beautiful there.
is. I
You
mean, there's
know,
so much there. I mean, it almost doesn't matter what region you're in, you know. Um, but of
other than
course,
northern Italy, they had some, and he even talked about that. In northern Italy, it's a lot colder,
yeah.
and there's some things there that are a little bit different. And I think that they kind of borrow from the northern part of Italy kind of borrows from the neighboring countries
Hmm.
and intermix the cuisine a little bit, so you get like and they do the same thing, close to Switzerland, and I think they've borrowed some things from Switzerland and from some of the other neighboring countries. Um, the more south you go, Rome, and then down the all the way down through the boot and the heel of Italy is where you start getting really, I think, more into traditional Italian
Hmm.
dishes.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of seafood.
A lot of seafood. Well, a lot of it's fresh too. I
That
mean,
well, I mean, obviously there's plenty of it there, so that's why they do
well, that's
that.
what we,
But
we appreciate. When we went to Maui and Hawaii. We went to Maui. It was when I ordered fish. Even you liked it there because it was
yeah,
fresh caught fish
yeah.
kind of a thing, and you got fresh caught fish that day, which is like great. So here you get to see a really when you experience this from sitting on your couch,
Mm.
and then you get to go look on the site again, which I'll provide, and you get to see the different foods like the let me go for in Venice they've got a, pitch black Venetian classic that basically is made with volcanic ash.
Mm. Yep.
And you kind of go, really? Do you really going to eat that? But people are eating it up. I mean,
Mhm.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And
Well, and
then,
when we do get to go there, and this is not necessarily for the food, but we've got to try to go to Lake Como and run into George. I mean,
well, of course,
we have to.
I'll make a phone call before we go.
We have to.
um, yeah, I'll make a phone call before we go. Don't worry. Um, in Piedmont, they've got stuff like coffee, beer, and rice to make risotto. So the risotto is made with coffee, beer, and the rice, which I've had a lot of different risotto. Mary makes
Oh,
fantastic risotto.
love her risotto. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of go beer and coffee mixed into risotto. I don't know if I would do that or not.
That lemon dessert, I wish I could remember what it was called.
We saw one yesterday where they had pasta with pesto,
Yes,
pesto, potatoes, and beans.
that looked really good.
That looked really, really good. And the pesto is like they went to the pesto farm,
Yeah.
which was actually on the side of the
Ba-
cliff,
Basil farm.
or basil farm. I'm sorry, the pesto
Yeah.
farm. Jiminy, it's here. Let me get some more tea and caffeine.
Yeah, they walked into that place where they're growing the basil, and I was like, okay, please transport me there right now. I just want to smell the place.
And actually, it's the only place in Italy that the government actually puts a mark on the fact that it is like
Hmm.
original and it is organic and it is the best basil in the country.
And
And it's bathed in sea salt and
salt
sea
water,
air and
the
salt
air.
water. And
Yeah.
then the workers are they work in a very ergonomic way when they harvest the basil. So
Yeah.
anyway, they you see a part where the guy they has a whole fresh thing of basil that they just cut and pulled, and he brings it in with this huge mortar and pestle thing and starts grinding up the traditionally. Don't do it in a
Hmm.
blender. Don't do it in a ninja. Does it with this huge pesto. Looks like I mean, it's bigger than a baseball bat,
Yeah.
and crushes it up by hand and grounds it together with the olive oil and pecorino cheese and another, I forgot the other
It
cheese,
was pepperoni and
pecorino or
uh
something,
heck,
um,
and pine nuts, obviously.
and pine nuts, and grinds it up into this beautiful looking pesto, and then cooks the pasta with it, and that's where they made a flat pasta called trinette. It had pecorino and sardo cheese. I'm reading it here. I should have looked
Huh.
down. Pecorino, sardo, and then fruity Riviera Ligura extra virgin olive oil
Mhm.
is what they made it with. And yeah, it looked good. In fact, my mouth's watering right
No,
now.
it looks so good.
So yeah, they made this, and they make. Let me see another good one, which I really want to look at. Um, and again, I'm going to give you guys. Oh, there's a full recipe here for dry tornata or linguine. Man, thank you, CNN.
Yeah, but you've got video editing to do. You don't have time.
I do.
Sorry.
They have this thing called assassin's spaghetti, spaghetti alla assassina. It's a spicy dish, delivers explosive heat. That's the one where it was kind of crispy. You remember they put the hot sauce, the hot peppers, and everything crushed it all up into the pan. People can't
Yeah.
see me doing this. I'm doing it, but they can't see me doing it. There was garlic and the red pepper flakes, and
Yeah.
then they cooked it all up. And when he ate it, he went, "Wow, that really is spicy and hot."
Oh, sounds.
Um, and they burned the pasta enough to where it's crunchy, it's caramelized and a little charred, which makes it a little
Oh,
bit bitter. So I don't know. I
I
mean,
would
the
eat it.
hot,
I would eat it.
yeah, the hot part of it sounds fantastic. But yeah, they made that as well. Assassin's spaghetti.
But
Uh,
I like for everything.
yeah, you do.
Since you brought my
Spaghetti all'assassinina. Spaghetti
yeah,
all'assassinina.
sounds good.
So if you're, here's the whole thing. If you're American and you don't speak any Italian, you go there, you go, oh, that sounds kind of cool. Let me have that. You don't know it's called the assassin spaghetti.
Right.
Because you take a bite and it's going to kill you.
Well, it
Maybe.
wouldn't do that to me anymore. I've ever since COVID, I'm like, spice it up, man. I
So
need it.
on the site, it's got the ingredients for the pesto: coarse sea salt, 4 bunches of basil, preferably from the farmer's market or your garden, 2 garlic cloves, a quarter cup of pine nuts, 3/4 cup Parmigiano Reggiano grated cheese, a quarter cup of Pecorino Sardo grated cheese, and 5 1/4 teaspoons of extra virgin olive oil, preferably Riviera Ligura, which we probably don't get here. Um, and it looked
Wonder if
really, really, really
have it
good. What's that?
when maybe we could have it shipped.
Yeah, but that might cost a bunch of money. But
Fortune.
it's interesting because when you and I first met, obviously, um, I think the first meal I ever made for you was pasta,
Yeah, it was chicken and pasta.
chicken and pasta.
Yep.
Now the thing of it is that I have slowly moved myself away from marinara,
Yeah.
and we use a lot of lemon and olive oil and peppers and
Like
things like that.
garlic. I like mine with garlic and hot peppers or hot pepper flakes.
Yeah. So I mean, so do I. It just sometimes I can get away with it, sometimes I can't. Um, but yeah, it's. I think if you want a really unique, diverse experience, a journey through Italy,
Well, you
all
feel
areas.
you feel like you're there.
Yeah, and with Stanley Tucci, yeah, I mean everybody loves Stanley Tucci.
No, who
Everything I've
doesn't?
ever seen him in, he's great in. Um, he plays such a diverse range of characters, but they're so personal. You just love the guy. And in this particular case, it's more of a relaxing stroll through Italy,
Yeah.
through history, through food, and you get to learn about all these different foods. And until, I have to admit, until I was researching the stuff for this particular episode, I did not know that every recipe that he has tasted is available on CNN's site.
No idea.
I had no idea. So, you can go on and if you like something that's on there or it looks really good, you have the opportunity to go try the recipe yourself. And I'll make sure that all the stuff's in the show notes. But you
Yeah.
need to watch it. It's on CNN. If you're a cord cutter and you're looking for an online platform, you can live stream through Sling TV, which that we don't have Sling TV, but you can also watch it on Discovery Plus and CNN Go, which I'm not familiar with CNN Go, but we've got Discovery Plus, so we were able to go back and watch season one because we'd missed a good portion of season one. That's how we got to watch season one, and then season two we just we get it and record it off of YouTube TV now through CNN. It's not available on other things like Hulu and Amazon Prime and those kind of areas. It's not available through there yet. And you can find clips of the show as well as all the recipes and stuff, like I said, again, on the website, which I'll provide to everybody. But you need to watch it. You need to kind of catch up on it. If you don't have Discovery Plus, I'm not an affiliate for Discovery Plus. So when I say this, it's well worth the $5.99 a month for this show, as well as many others. But some of the others we watch on Discovery Plus, I think, are Resident Alien, which we've talked to you guys about before. But there's a whole slew of stuff on there that you can do. But definitely, you need to watch this one.
Yes.
Definitely, definitely. Um, did we miss anything? Anything? I mean,
Not that I can think of. I'm
Stanley
just real.
Tucci searching for Italy.
Now you need to make me the lemon dessert.
Yeah, now we can figure out what the lemon dessert is because it's going to be in the recipe. See, so we're going to
I'm
be
going,
able to do it.
as soon as we get done, I'm going to look it up.
Well, listen, I know we got a late start today on this Sunday, and sometimes we end up doing that, but Sundays are relaxing. So, thank you all for joining this conversation with us. We really appreciate you all being here. And, I like to kind of say before we leave is that don't forget to subscribe and to leave a review. You can find our episodes here on YouTube or your favorite listening platform, Apple, Spotify, on and on and on, or just ask. Let me try that again in English. Just ask Alexa, Siri, iTunes, or Google to play the latest episode of One More Thing Before You Go. And there you go.
Mhm. Oh,
So,
and I'm wearing my actual shirt from Italy. Got to
see
show
you.
my
And we,
Caitlin.
there you go.
There.
Roma. Roma,
Rome.
Italia.
Whoops, wait. There we go.
Roma, Italia.
Roman Italian. And that was brought back by Caitlin when she was on her eighth grade field
Eighth
trip.
grade. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
eighth grade.
she got to go to Italy and Greece.
And the Amalfi Coast.
Eh, yeah, whatever.
She
She's an
had pictures of that as they were on the boat going up to the Amalfi Coast. It was great.
yeah. She
It was great. It
well,
was great. We're going to go there. Don't worry. We're going to go there. We had so many
or
plans, and then COVID stepped in, and that kind of just changed a few plans. But
well, money, but we're gonna win the Powerball, so it's all good.
yes, we are. We're going to put that out to the universe right now. So once again, everybody, thank you very much for listening. We really appreciate you all for being part of the One More Thing Before You Go family. And don't forget that we're going to have new episodes up every Wednesday. We're change our artwork just a little bit, so when you see us, it is still us. It's just kind of change just a little tiny bit. And you're going to notice some changes with one more thing before you go. Starting very soon is going to give us a more broad and diverse conversation, which we hope you all will continue to join this journey with us through being able to say that one more thing before you go. So thank you very much. We'll see you in the next episode.
Happy Sunday.
Thanks for listening to this episode of One More Thing Before You Go. Check out our website at beforeyougopodcast.com. You can find us as well as subscribe to the program and rate us on your favorite podcast listening platform.